Yes, folks, it's Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Do please, come on, folks, like and subscribe. 2 secs, it helps, yeah, really. Woo, thanks. Right, okay. Don't forget your comments. I will reply to your comments if possible, usually do. And today I've got a request. Somebody asked a request for me to discuss the equipment, the defence equipment that officers used in the prisons during my time, which was in the 70s and 80s. And I'm going to talk about that right now, because today I believe they've got all kinds of things like extending batons and pepper sprays, and they've got cameras that they wear and all that stuff. They don't have nothing like that. So I'm going to talk about that today. So don't forget, comments, all the rest of it, and at the end I'll ding the sing-donger and you can scoot off. Yeah, here we go. Right. Back in the 70s and 80s, when I was operational as a prison officer, you were issued with a truncheon, which was just a standard truncheon, about 18 inches long. But it was made out of, it wasn't quite balsa wood, but it might as bloody well have been. I saw one used on an inmate in the scrubs. Great big hefty guy. And the officer, he was fighting like hell with about 3 staff. This guy would come up behind him, got his truncheon, boosh, on it, right on the bloody crown of his head. It snapped. It snapped the truncheon. Absolutely useless. I've got my father's truncheon somewhere that he had when he was issued in the 1950s, when he was a police officer. And that's made out of a wood called lignum vitae. And it must weigh about 3 pounds, this truncheon. And if you get whacked with that, then you'd know about it. Believe me, that wouldn't break on your head. It would break your head. I used to carry that when I was in the prisons, but I only had to use it once, and that was when somebody grabbed hold of the handrails, the railings in part of the prison, and refused to move. And it was late on at night, after dark. We'd let them out to receive treatment and to get treatment from the hospital staff, and grabbed the rail and wouldn't move. So I had to just gently tap his knuckles with the truncheon, as you do, gently, and persuade him to let go of the railings, which he subsequently did. And that what followed after that was a battle on the landings that he didn't win, by the way. But then again, that's the thing, isn't it? If you're going in there with a big hat and a set of keys, then you can't come second. You've got to make sure that you don't lose the battles. Otherwise, anarchy. Yeah, there'd be no good order and discipline. That's why people are issued with protective equipment these days, but they certainly were not back in the 70s and the 80s. What you got was a big hat, a set of keys, a chain to put them on, a whistle and a truncheon, and off you went. You had your uniform, of course, but that was just cheap stuff. It was relatively cheap. And the shirts were made out of nylon, so that when it was a hot day, it was really unpleasant. Cheap junk, The uniforms were absolute rubbish. Shoes were good, yeah, because you got issued with a pair of shoes every year, and they were K shoes, so that they were good shoes then. But I didn't really use them. I used my ex-army boots until I became a hospital officer. Then I reverted to using the shoes then. And for all those of you who are interested, size 9s, by the way, in case you're thinking of getting me something for Christmas. And boots DMS, that's what I wore. I don't kick anybody. I don't believe in kicking people. That's why I don't understand this kickboxing. It just seems to me wrong, you know. I mean, I absolutely do believe in the noble art of self-defense and boxing, absolutely. But kicking people, that's not for me. I never do that. And as a general rule, you know, if you're in a brawl, you put them down, you let them get up, you know. I don't bash them and nail them to the floor or kick them while they're down. That's not very sporting, is it? You know, and perhaps I'm wrong, you know, but I didn't believe in actually injuring people just for the pleasure of it, because it didn't seem to me particularly pleasurable. In fact, if you catch them wrong, it can quite hurt your hand. Yeah, seriously, that's all they had back in the 70s and 80s, and numerous times you've gone in to deal with altercations on the landings, and you didn't, as a general rule, draw your truncheon. No, I never did, you know, because it gets in the way of you actually handling the situation. Because if you're going to stop an inmate from attacking people, you're going to get hold of them. You know, you're not going to hit them. I mean, all you're going to do, if you hit some of these big buggers, you're just going to annoy them. It ain't going to stop them, yeah. So you grapple them, you know. Luckily, I mean, I trained with a German wrestling team at Paderborn HBF. I represented Paderborn, believe it or not, as the middleweight wrestling representative for Paderborn. I wrestled a few of them there, quite well, bloody 30 or 40 different wrestling matches, you know. One of them, I was at the club, you know, in Paderborn, big gymnasium, you know, but they had a section at the side for the wrestling team. And I went in and I could speak German, you know, and they said, Guten Tag, John, kommen Sie here. So I went over, you know, and this guy who I knew very well, his name was Siegfried Pagelkopf. And he was actually my landlord, and he was the German welterweight wrestling champion. He was very, very good. He called me over and says, "You're going to wrestle in Germany. You're going to wrestle this guy." You know, oh yeah, all right. I didn't care who it was. I'd have a go. You know, so he was quite a big, bulky fella. You know, but I was fairly bulky in my day. You know, so this bloke gets hold of me, and I have experienced pain, but that guy could inflict it like nobody I'd met before. He absolutely tied me in knots. He was enormously powerful. He put himself into positions that I just couldn't seem to get hold of him. You know, I was quite strong, but I couldn't get hold of him. It turns out he was the European middleweight wrestling champion. You know, we're not talking about Big Daddy and crap like that. This American WWE nonsense. You know, where they come on and say, "I'm gonna eat his heart out." Give over. Grow up. I'll tell you a little story about that. WWE wrestling champion called Sting. About 6'4", about 18 stone. Big fella, you know. I was doing a show in Dublin at RTE, a television show about psychic stuff, you know. And I'm sat in the green room next to this bloody giant bloke. I don't know who he was. I said, "Hi, what you doing here?" You know, I said, "You going on the telly?" "Oh yeah," he said, "I'm Sting." He said, "I'm the American WWE wrestling champion, and I'm wrestling in Ireland, and we're on the show tonight, you know." Oh, I said, "That's very good." I said, "I wish you well with that." He said, "I'm going now to put on my gear." And he had to go and get himself dressed up, you know, in his wrestling gear. He was away for about 20 minutes. He came back. He got all this dangly stuff on and sparkly pants, and looked a right cunt, really. But anyway, he'd put all this makeup on his face. I don't know if you've ever seen Sting. He wears like strange things around and all that painted on his face. And I said to him, I said, "This is very effective, what you've done here." I said, "Did you do it yourself?" He said, "Absolutely, man." He said, "I always do this myself." I said, "Well, let me tell you, it really sets your eyes off." Hey, you know when somebody's just about to grab hold of you and punch your head in? That's exactly how he looked at me. He went like that, I thought, bloody hell. And the guy I was with, James Byrne, who was the psychic I was working with, he's looking at me as if to say, "You're going to get yourself killed." Yeah. But that's all you had when you was in the jails in the 1970s and 80s. Your own physical ability and a balsa wood truncheon. Absolutely rubbish. So anyway, that's that. My little tale for today. That's the song dinger, folks. Cast terror into the hearts of grown men. So all you aficionados of good music, I'll see you next time. And to my victims now, somebody's actually requested that I sing a song. So the rest requested it the other day. They want me to sing John Denver's Country Roads. I don't know why. Perhaps they don't like the song and they want me to destroy it. Because, believe you me, folks, hang around and that is likely what's gonna happen. Are we sitting comfortably? Are you really sitting comfortably? Yeah, stand by because here it comes. Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the trees, younger than the mountains, growing like a breeze. Country roads take me home to the place where I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, all my memories gather round her, miner's lady, stranger to blue water, dark and dusty, painted on the sky, misty taste of moonshine, teardrop in my eye. Take me home, country roads, to the place that I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads. I hear her voice in the morning hour, she calls me. The radio reminds me of my home far away. Driving down the road, I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Country roads take me home to the place where I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads, country roads, take me home to the place where I belong, West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads. Well, if you enjoyed that, because I didn't, it was rubbish, wasn't it? But anyway, I'll see you tomorrow on the sick parade. No, Monday morning, that's it. It's Sunday tomorrow, isn't it? So if you enjoyed it, ask for the lag, Axel.